Good evening and welcome to today's panel discussion where we'll be discussing media and violence, that is media in terms of how they portray violence. And in today's panel discussion I have with me
I'm Elvin Silva.
My name is Karen Karida.
And my name is Charles Maundu.
And I'm Wanjiro Korea. So of course, as we all know, media and violence, this is how media or any sort of media portrays violence to its audience. Anyone else have anything to add on that?
I think it's the both ways. It goes both ways. The citizen journalists and the professional journalists in how they portray any type of violence, may it be mass shootings, may it be any type of violence, the way they share it online and in traditional ways of sharing, either newspapers, TVs, radios. That's what I think.
Yes, so that is media and violence in a short way. So we will be talking about the impacts that violence has on the media and on their audience. And first we'll start with negative impacts. So I would like to open up with saying that the media has actually normalized violence to its audience, where it has become very normal to be seeing violent acts, even through the games that children play or the kind of news we watch, especially with the prevalence of citizen journalism, where citizen journalists are not really adhering to any codes of ethics. So it's very easy for them to show graphic footage without editing or blurring out anything that could be aggressive or that could be in terms of harassment. It's very prevalent to be seeing this type of violence in our media, and we become accustomed to it in a way that is not actually very healthy, because we should have that sense of humanity where violence should not be normalized, and we should be protecting even our young people or even the children in our society from this type of violence.
I also think that by what do I say, by broadcasting about violence, which is what the media is doing, it is promoting, it is impacting the mental health of individuals who are the audience that is consuming the content that is being streamlined.
Yeah, I think by portraying graphic images and such violent in cases, they do not think that the audience receiving them needs empathy. Let's say you are a parent, your kid has been shot, then you go to Twitter, the images of your child are spreading everywhere. So how do you feel that? I think the people are lacking a lot of empathy to the people affected, because when you're affected, you can't bear to see the person you love, their images being all over online. Yeah.
Sure.
I think on my side, I think through media promoting violence, it's selling things like fear and anxiety among its consumers. Because let's take a good example of the recent activities that have been happening on June and July, that is the Maandamano. We've been seeing a lot of shooting, that's on the TV. We've been hearing a lot of shooting on the radios and the social media platforms in general. And these things are consumed by so many people, even children. Nowadays, a lot of children have phones. So when children see such things on their gadgets, on the TV, it gives them fear. It builds anxiety from deep within them. So it's a very big negative impact that is affecting us as the consumers. Yeah.
And I feel like everyone on this table can agree that sometimes these things give us fear and anxiety, especially when you want to go out, or like if you want to go somewhere and recently there was a violent thing that happened there, you're always going to be concerned about your safety, like what if I'm next? Or what if someone just happens to remove their phone on the right time, and suddenly the next time that the people who love me see me, they see me in a very violent situation. And I think that is not actually a comfortable position to be in, even as an individual, as a society. And so I think that those are the negative impacts that violence has. Do we have any other thoughts?
To add on your point of wherever you go, you're fearful. Was it on 21st November there was a shielded manamano to happen?
Yes.
I happened to be in Githurai. Then I saw three lorries ferrying KDF officers.
Oh.
Do you know, I feared I had to leave the place.
Yeah.
So I think the 25th, the June protest really instilled fear in us.
Even as the youth, when you go somewhere,
I had to leave Githurai. I
Yes.
thought
there
there
was
may be
something
a
that
mass
was
shooting,
coming.
true,
Yeah.
I also think, before you conclude on that point, there's a sense of stereotyping and biasness that comes through when the media is reporting on things like violence. Because, let's say, for example, it's not the actual case, but it's just an example. There's this story of Murima people, Mungiki
Yes.
people. They are believed to be from a certain ethnic group, which is the Kikuyu. So when the media keeps on reporting things about Mungiki, it paints a certain picture that the people from the Murima side, for just quote unquote, they are very violent, you know. So when people grow up, they will have that perception inside of them that the guys from the Kikuyu guys,
Yeah.
they're very violent. So I think, yeah.
And the
that's
stereotyping can also apply even to Karen's story,
Mm.
because people who live in like Kilimani, they were okay, they were fine, even if, but even people from Githurai, even if it was not happening, there was still that stereotyping of, we expect that there's going to be something in these slum areas, and so it creates some sort of bias and like stereotyping of like, if someone is from like Githurai, obviously like if there's something like a maandamano, there has to be violence,
shooting.
even forgetting that there are people who live there who are also afraid, and you're selling them more fear by stereotyping.
Yeah.
I also think, Larry, there's something to do with when, let's say, like kids are watching, when I watch TV and there is violence, ama kuna kitu inaripotiwa someone alifanya, tuseme alifanya nini, like maybe alichapa mtu ama something. Wewe kama mtoto, of course, sahi ndio una grow, ndio unaenda ukiadapt this and that. So kuna vile hata wewe unaweza taka kuwa kama ule mtu. Mbona amewekwa kwa TV? Na mbona watu wengi? Mbona hata mimi nikiwa nione kante kwa TV, ama kuna tuyo copycatting inaweza kuja hapo, it will be very bad for the kid. Na obviously kuna consequences zake, but ina lead to copycatting ama ina glorify the perpetrators wenye wanakuwa.
Yeah. But at the same time, we can't also say that it's all negative. Like, as we all know, there are two sides to everything. So I feel like there are also some positive impacts when the media is covering things to do with violence. For example, we can say raising awareness. Awareness is raised about the kind of violence that is out here, so that people can be able to protect themselves further, or like, so that you can also know, like, where am I supposed to be, where am I not supposed to be, how do I handle myself in such a situation. So I feel like the media has also been raising awareness about violence.
An example on awareness, let's say kuna domestic violence in a house. So tuseme a media industry nini that, na at some point watuonesha vile huyo mama, maybe tuseme mama ndiye alikuwa anachapa ama the man amekuwa rescued, amepelekwa kwa rescue center ama something that so kuna ile namba watapeana if you need help ama mental issues. So kuna hiyo at some point ina raise awareness na inasaidia sana. So it's an importance.
True.
And also I feel like the violence that they can cover in ethical ways can also act in an educational way, and also in giving social commentary. For example, as you have mentioned with gender-based violence, I think it's becoming very prevalent these days to realize that this violence is not just targeted towards men or towards women, but men and women alike. And it's also educational for people to know where can I seek help if I am going through it, And when the media gives out a story where people have gone through violence and they give, for example, as you said, a toll number, it becomes educational because people know, like, if I go through this or if I go through something similar, I can always get help. Or like, these are the warning signs of gender-based violence. This is how I know I'm being violated. And that is very educational and also positively impactful to the people.
To add on your point about the educational part, I think when they show us in a professional way the violence, they can spark up conversations with promoting positive activism. A while back, people were not open to talking about GBV.
Yes.
But let's say we're watching Nipashe and we say, hey, the way people are being killed, you see everybody in the family will contribute. Now that the media is showing us in a way that we can discuss in healthy habits.
Yeah, okay. I think another point we can say it's also promoting empathy and understanding among people, because let's say when media, let's take a good example of the Maandamano thing. We've been seeing people getting shot. We've been seeing people being taken to the hospital. So the empathy point comes in when, when you see such a thing. We are humans, so we have that emotions. We have emotions inside of us. So when you see such a thing, it will capture your attention. In one way or the other, there's a way you can help them. You can just send them something, let's say a fund. You can send someone, because you never know. At the end of the day, there are so many big people from amongst us. You can get you're just talking to someone, yet they are a doctor somewhere. You can just talking to someone, they are a CEO somewhere. So that empathy will come in when they play a certain role. Maybe they can say, let's make a funding for these people who have been shot during the Maandamano. And it's not something that I'm talking just out of a thought. We've been seeing these things happening. For the Maandamano that passed, there was a place where people contributed. And for those guys who exactly, Mchanga, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, we raised over 30 million, you see. So it's something very important. So we are not, at the end of the day, we are not bashing the media, but we are also trying to promote it in a good way.
Yes. I also think another importance is accountability. After they've shared the stories on violence and all that, already mshaspark a conversation. Kila mtu atakuwa anaongea huko, ule akiongea pale, so the DCI obviously wataongea ama anything. So maybe if kulikuwa na kesi ya kufuatiliwa, itafuatiliwa, and there'll be justice will be served to the victims, all that. So at some point in a later accountability, people are going to be responsible for their actions in the society.
Yes. And also on the point of understanding, I feel like we can also choose to put ourselves like in the shoes of these people who have gone through this type of violence, whether it's terrorism, gender-based violence, killings, shootings. We can be able to listen to them and understand where they are coming from, and hence try and help them in terms of even their mental health. As we said, even with the Mchanga, or even with the kind of the femicide that is going on right now, the victims who have escaped gender-based violence. There was a time that, like, when you say that you're being beaten and everyone would just brush you off, or they'd fail to understand why you're still in the situation. But with the type of media that is being promoted these days, where they do open up about that kind of violence, you get to understand how someone got themselves in that situation and how you can actually help them out without being judgmental. So even as we point out the impacts that it has had, it would not be right for us to go on without actually giving our own recommendations and solutions for the problems with violence in media at the moment. And for example, personally, I would suggest that there should be parental guidance. As we say that this violence is being normalized even to children, we should ask ourselves, where are the parents? How are they playing a role in this? Because as we all know, that child did not access the internet by themselves. They did not buy themselves a phone. So I feel like parental guidance is very important, and we should actually be promoting age-restrictive content to our children, where they do not have a chance to run into very violent content, especially when going on social media, on sites like Twitter, where it's actually uncensored. And we should be promoting for parents to have age-appropriate content for their children to avoid this violence reaching our young people in the society.
I also think that, to add on what you've said, the media should also come in and be responsible in what they report.
Yes.
I know it's they're just doing their work, which is reporting, but at the end of the day, not everything that you report or not everything that you capture, you should feed us with, you see,
Yeah.
because as we started, we said that our children have access to these things. So if you continue reporting unresponsibly, you'll be bashing away our kids. You'll be, you'll be putting them in their place, for lack of a better word, which shouldn't be the case. Media should be a very, very responsible type of system, and it should be a system which is very genuine in what it does. So being responsible is a good thing for the media, but just reporting anything, to me, I disagree with it. So that's why I'm saying they should be responsible. Yeah.
As for me, I think we can give credit to professional journalists. I've never seen a graphic picture on news. At least they try and filter what can be aired and what they can leave behind. But as for citizen journalists, no, they just post it.
They give you raw.
Yeah, they give you raw content. Yeah, I can give it up for professional journalists.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before I do that, there is something about, after going through audience analysis as a unit, there is a specific audience targeted by this. Let's say I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's about violence and all that. You know, there's a target.
restriction, yeah.
Kuna target audience
Audience,
ilikuwa
yeah.
targeted
Yeah.
before that nini. So there's the first audience tuseme kama ni movies. Kulikuwa na the niche markets who are targeted in this. In this, kuna those people that love nini.
Violent movies.
Yeah, the dramas maybe hizo za kufight za waindi. So yeah, they target kuna the niche in the market. Then other films in a target maybe adolescents ama the young youth yenye wanataka kuwatch those kind of things zenye ziko na unaona zinakaa ni kazi ziko na nguvu zinatumia nguvu. Yeah, sindio?
Yes.
So hapo kuna wenye wako targeted, but sasa tukikuja kwa tuseme mainstream media, that is the news media, wana target the general public in this scenario, maybe ku-educate, accountability hizo zote, but sasa now wao wana target to the public yenye wana listen to their news, sindio? Alafu kuna zingine pia wana target the activist groups,
Yes.
sindio?
Human rights activists.
Yeah, so by broadcasting that imewafikia the target audience yao, sindio?
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
The good thing with this topic, media and violence, I think it affects everybody in one way or another, directly or indirectly. The activists, the general public, name them movies. I think not even if not everybody, I think
A very huge percentage of people
loves watching.
Yeah.
I think it's a detailed topic.
I also feel like we should push for media literacy, education, not just for people who are paying fee to come to school, because thanks to the growing of digital platforms, anyone can be a journalist. So I feel like we should be pushing media literacy education to everyone. For us, we are privileged. We are currently in school and we do train on media literacy.
Yeah.
However, there are people who are just, citizen journalists, and
Locals.
for them, they think that they're just showing news and they don't understand about media literacy. And we should also give them the opportunity to learn and grow as journalists and not just ignore them or put them aside, because their content does reach a very large number of people thanks to digital platforms and the growing of technology. So I feel like we should push for media literacy education. And I think that calls for the conclusion of our topic, where we have covered media and violence, we have covered the benefits and the negative impacts, and also given solutions. My final thoughts on the topic would be that for the violence shown in the media, we should struggle not to sensationalize tragic acts, violent acts. We should try and actually educate the public instead of sensationalizing them. And that way, we can work together as a community to reduce the amount of violence that is being broadcast to the society.
To conclude, I can say that the media can try and portray healthy conflict resolutions rather than resolving to physical conflicts. Physical violence, I think they can do that.
So on my side, I don't have much, but I can say, first things first, media is a very big operating system. So whatever it does really affects, like, if not everyone, almost everyone.
Yeah.
So it reaches so many masses, and it has a very, very big influence. So I can just advise that the media should use the influence that they have to instill positively to the society, or rather than negatively. But at the end of the day, in as much as I am saying all of this, I don't mean that the media is doing things wrongly. It's just
We need an improvement.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, on my part, so far so good. Mainstream media, let's level on the citizen journalists. They're doing a very good job
Yes.
in broadcasting the violence.
Yeah.
So that is good. They should continue that. So broadcasting violence is good because we are also look at its importance. So it's doing good. Let it continue and maybe help isaidia the others kujua, as in wajue the ethical, as in wajue wakuwe na clue
Create public awareness.
ya vitu zenye zina nini, what should be broadcasted ikikuja tu violence and what not. So
Yeah.
ikifika hapo itakuwa imesaidia a lot na tutakuwa tuna move mbele as a society as a whole.
In a good way, yeah.
Well, those are our thoughts on media and violence. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.